Okay, so
I'm not sure what that means.
that's quite a few decades.
Somebody can work
So John's going to be sharing with us a lifetime of work, archive and collection, and also stories from him and his days as a journalist, which continue to this day. So please, can you put your hands together for John, mate?
You can probably gather from that my lifetime can be summed up in 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to try and stick to 50 minutes. We'll see how we go. So the reason I'm here is that I live in an archive, and I'm here to speak about my archive, which is called the Generalist Archive of Counterculture and Connected Thinking. And it's got 26 different collections within the archive, and you can look at all the different collections on generalistarchive.co.uk. So rather than go into all the different collections and so on, the major component is about counterculture, and I'll speak about that in a minute. The counterculture of the 60s and 70s, which goes around, comes around, everyone's keen again. So we're about to do the new counterculture thing. And my archive has been going for about 40 years, under the radar, no one knew it was there. And this year I was part of the major summer exhibition at Somerset House about print magazines, alternative magazines from the past. I was the second biggest contributor to that. Since then, my profile has spiked. All of a sudden, people are asking me to do things and to give talks. And, oh, I'm here giving a talk. And so the other part, the main part of the archive is I've been working for 50 years as a journalist, producing books, magazines, etc., etc. So that's the second part, and I've got rather scribbly notes here. Yes. So I think I'll just move to the second part, which has pictures. That's probably a good thing. So tomorrow I'm talking to 70 graphic art students at the University of Brighton about counterculture, and we're doing a project to produce protest newspapers. All of this is very unlikely for me. Normally I don't do that sort of thing, but anyway, here we go. So tonight I'm going to show you something that I will be showing them as well, which is my life in print. Goodness me. This is this is from 1967 to 1979. So 1967, I'm 17. In this picture, I'm probably about 23 or something. And I've been looking into the eyes of this younger man, wondering what he thinks about me, whether I've done what he believed. And I think I've tried to stick to the thing. So here we go. 1967, this is my first band, the Gilded Orange. So I was at boarding school, I was sent away to boarding school for 7 years. It was horrible. I was released in 1968. The point being, history of print, this is my first time in print. You'll see here a letter by John May, age 17. It's to do with the Daily Mail's review of the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour, which they slagged on. And I was incensed. I believe the Beatles to be real artists in the Renaissance sense of the world, etc., etc. They sent me a telegram. So that was my first time in print in the national newspaper. This is my first interview that I did in the same year for 1968 for a magazine called Swan, which I'll explain in a minute. It was a duplicated magazine. I went backstage and met the incredible string band, who I love, and I not only did an interview, but I got their autographs as well. So that was another important stage in my career. The magazine Swan was produced by an arts lab made up of people like this, hippies, freaks. This is us sitting in Montague Street in Worthing, selling underground papers. As you can see, the local populace. On one memorable occasion, a mob came up and poured an entire bottle of perfume over me because they thought that was funny. What we did many, quite a few issues in the magazine. They were duplicated on a Gestecke machine. These are, which is got, look at that, it's made of type, it's very clever to do that. And they were printed at the Unicorn Bookshop, which has a whole history to itself. It was the big bookshop in Brighton. Bill and his partner were an out gay couple. He's a great hero of mine. Unfortunately, he died quite young, but that's where we used to print our magazine. So that was my first experience of producing a magazine. We also used to do loads of gigs and so on. We did the first free concert in Worthing. John Peel never turned up, as it turned out. Arthur Brown never turned up. But we did have the original Deep Purple, original line-up for a benefit concert for this tiny Worthing workshop. I made quite a lot of money. As you can see here, it says DJ John May coming out of the dodgy-looking cigarette man's mouth. Then things got even more. We did some happenings. This is me reading Lawrence Ferman Getty's poem Underwear. And as you see, police gagged their counterculture. The police came in and, you know, they didn't arrest us, but they moved us on, should I say. So we were getting a lot of hassle from the police, so we renamed the magazine just to get up their nose. We called it Scab, whereas Swan was the previous kind of hippie thing. This was another of our happenings, the Bubble In. We got on TV with this one, and there we are. So I did it in 1969 September, the Bubble In. Then what happened was this first major free festival in Britain, Fun City, just outside Worthing, in a field, which had the MC5 from Detroit. Does anyone know the MC5? Yeah. MC5, first appearance in England, in a field, just outside Worthing. As you see, strange, happy pop world. The Worthing Herald and Worthing Gazette loved us because we were just an endless series of headlines. You know, the terrible thing we did. Residents fear grew as we moved into the woods. This is me and some of my friends. We camped out in the woods for a week, and the stage was in the wrong place under the power lines, so everybody had to lift up the stage and move it. Those were the days. Hell's Angels were doing this. That's not me. So this is the first magazine I ever worked for, called Image, Worthing's own monthly magazine. I actually had a press pass. You can see, look, date of birth, colour of hair, colour of eyes. What's all that about? And on the back cover, Drugs in Worthing, that was going to be the second issue. It unfortunately only lasted one issue. That's the first laugh of the evening. Thank you very much. This is me smoking an ordinary cigarette, but made to look as if, you know. But drugs in Worthing was a problem. Basically, we all got arrested several times, constantly hassled by the police, and we had to leave Worthing. So then we moved to London. And here we have the Underground Press. So some of you may know or not. There are three major national underground papers. International Times, absolutely brilliant. Edward cartoonist. I did some work for them. Oz magazine, which is probably more famous, and was famously taken to the Old Bailey on an obscenity charge. One of the longest obscenity trials in British history, I believe. But the one I worked for began here. Now, Rolling Stone magazine had been set up in San Francisco, and Jan Wenner, who set it up, forgot to ask the Rolling Stones whether they minded. And in fact, they were very pissed off, Mick Jagger in particular. Jan Wenner was really obsessed with Mick Jagger. Cut a long story short, they decided to do a British edition of Rolling Stone, funded by the Stones, in an immaculate office in Hanover Square. The first British issue. There was about 6 or 8 before the whole thing fell apart. So then it moved to Portobello Road. It became Friends with an S. That's the first issue. This isn't actually a cover of Friends, but it's an irresistible slow. I know it's politically incorrect. There we are. Then that went bankrupt. The company was called TF Much, Too Fucking Much. And then they set up Friends, which was run by a company called Echidna Epics, named after a small, weird Australian animal. These are 2 issues, one done by Barney Bubbles, a very famous graphic designer, about the Grateful Dead cover. And then this is one of the last issues, designed by a lady called Penny Smith, who was one of the leading, one of the great photographers on the NME. Who lives on a railway station on the edge of London. And this is me at the Oval for a concert by Frank Zappa. This is the second to last issue. We did one more issue after this, and then the magazine folded. 6 weeks after this, I became a father. And what happened when the magazine folded? Everything was being thrown out into the street, and I rescued, in inverted commas, as much of that stuff as possible. It's been through about eight flats, 10 garages, a fire, and everything else, and now it's safely in my house, and part of it was part of the Somerset House exhibition. So then, after it folded, we set up a new operation from this wonderful office here, which had several different faces. One of it was a big nose on the front. And this was my favourite, with nude bodies climbing up with a cutout there. Here's Portobello Road, just here, so it's millions of people passing by. And you get up in the morning, you get 18 Japanese tourists taking pictures of you in the window. This is the team who look, this is for the Sunday Times, this picture. We look a bit weird, don't we? Some sort of like weird cult figure. What we were doing was this, an index possibilities. Now, the Whole Earth catalogue, which you may have heard of, which was before the internet, there was this big book which was like the internet book for lots of information and so on. Sold 1 million copies in America. We were going to do the English Whole Earth catalogue, and they gave us lots of money, but it turned into this other weird thing, which was like a cult encyclopedia, a cross-disciplinary, weird thing. This was on the theme of energy and power. And, hang on, is this good? Oh, there it is. And that's Nicola Tesla on the top there. And it's now, this is a very expensive book to find. It's still a very cult book. We're all very proud that we did this. We were in our early, we were all about 24 when we did this. It took us 2 years to do it. This is a page from the book that I did. I put this in because this is from the Earth section, and I just thought it was weird because the whole section is about alternative energy, and it features pictures of the Twin Towers. So it's really prescient, if you like, considering this was published in 1974. Okay, so then in the 70s I joined the NME. I was Dick Tracy of the NME. Here, Dick Tracy. Obviously, I've got my patch. I wrote everything that wasn't about music, essentially. There was a business, drugs, films, books, etc. This is my only cover story about record piracy. I did a pioneering piece about Two British Heroin Bar, which was reprinted in the modern last book. This is Phil Daniels from and numerous other stuff. And trying to do a book called I Was Dick Tracy, because nobody knew who Dick Tracy was, and I still meet people to this day say, "You were Dick Tracy at the NME." In between times, we produced a lot of illustrated books, and one of these was very significant. This is the first popular book of scientific imagery in 1977. Now we're very familiar with scientific imagery. At the time, most people didn't even look at it or know what existed. There was high speed, X-ray, satellite, sort of computer stuff as well. Obviously very primitive by today's standards, but a pioneering work, I'd say. You can see why they call me the generalist. So then, meanwhile, also, we were working for Felix Dennis, who you may know of Dennis Publishing, multi-millionaire before he died. TV Sci-Fi Monthly, that was a hot title. Star Trek, I was on the Bionic Man beat, I think that was my thing. But mainly, Star Wars Monthly. I mean, that is now a total cult collector's item, I can tell you. As I feature in a new book on Star Wars in America, which claims I have more access to Star Wars than anybody else in Britain. This is another magazine I edited for a couple of issues. Obviously it's about drugs, and what else can I say about that? Not much really. I don't want you to think that I have anything to do with drugs. This is this is a Ralph Steadman illustration. We produced this for Friends of the Earth. This was the time of the Windscale inquiry, when people were trying to shut Windscale down, now called Solar, which is still a nightmare. That was in 1978. We're coming to a close shortly. I also launched the first, one of the first animal liberation magazines in the world, called The Beast, as you can see, the magazine that Mike's back. This is a beautiful set of badges that we did. I did it because Guy the gorilla died because his teeth had been rotted by the sweets that tourists had given him. And I'd seen Guy the gorilla when I was about 7, and I was just totally, did that beautiful badge up there, Animal Liberation. And this is now a completely historic item, and to see copies of it in a glass case in Somerset House was a bit strange, but very, very wonderful. And we're just coming finally. So the next thing is I go to Los Angeles. I've never been on a plane before. I go to Hollywood to produce an inside story of the making of the Empire Strikes Back. I've got complete access to the science organisation. This is the Elstree Studios, the Bog Planet, as you see, and with R2D2. My credibility amongst young kids who are massive, massive. And what else was it? Oh yeah, they bought me these Wellington boots on the way there. We were in a limousine going there, and they said, "Have you got any Wellington boots?" I said, "Well, no. Why would I?" So we went in the place and bought some Wellington boots, because it's the Bog Planet. That was the point. And finally, I made it to the top of the tree. Hollywood. I think that's it.
So your chance to ask some questions, John, if you've got any questions relating to the talk.
Questions.
I did. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the Q&A. But yeah, we've got a question here.
John, I want to leave here tonight with an image of the MC5 just outside.
Yes.
So could you remember what they played?
What they played?
Yes.
Oh my God. Kick out the jams, motherfuckers. There's the animal song of the day. Yeah. I mean, it was extraordinary. And then they went on tour in London. We went to most of their gigs. And yeah, it was fabulous.
Question over there.
What do you do with your archives?
I've tried to sell it to various universities, and then I realised that they haven't got the money, or because I'm a generalist and it covers so many different subjects, they just want to cherry pick bits and pieces, whereas ideally I want to keep the whole thing together. So I don't know what's going to happen to it. I'm still recovering from the flat books. It was exhibited in glass cases in Somerset House. Weird as shit. I mean, Jimmy Page was at the opening. That was the other thing. Jimmy Page was there as well. And Jarvis.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit about your time in Horbury?
Shortly after this, almost directly after my second short time, I went on tour with Falklands. Silver Machine was at number 3 in the charts, and I was a dancer with Falklands.
Did you dance with Stacia?
Stacia and Rennie the Maestro, and me. I was going to bring tonight actually, funny enough, but I didn't. I've got a special bolero jacket made of labels from the Beatles' Apple printing. Absolutely amazing thing, which obviously I can't get into now. It's my thing in time. And yeah, I did that. I was friends with Falklands, and I wanted to do something. They said, "Well, why don't you dance then?" Yeah, no. So anyway, I did about 6 or 7 gigs, and then we mutually decided that was probably memorably, just briefly memorably, we broke down in Birmingham, and we had to do a gig in Bristol, and we hired 4 taxis to drove high speed to Bristol really well, and at least 2 hours late. So we arrived on a low stage, a complete frenzy. So that was my experience of being Falkland maniac. Very exciting. So there we are. I've led a strange life.
Got a question over here.
Oh.
Yeah, tell me. I was at Fun City a long time ago, but
You're in the woods.
but yes, indeed. What I wanted to know was you mentioned the digitization of the magazines that you've just shown,
Yeah.
and what does that affect on the value of the actual hard copies that you have displayed on here?
What the exhibition?
Not so much the exhibition, but because of the digitization which you've done, or has been done, does that mean that the original copies aren't really relevant at all?
No. I mean, what I discovered doing the Somerset House thing, you have to value every item.
Oh,
I
right.
never thought about the value.
Yeah.
Strangely, up until that point. So an issue of IT will be, I don't know, 50 quid or something, depending on what's on the cover. Some things 100 quid, whatever. So the value of the paper thing, the point about the exhibition was everything's going digital, we're getting rid of paper and everything. It's complete nonsense. In fact, quite the opposite is true. There was a Radio 4 program called The Persistence of Analog, which is, board games are back, vinyl, young kids want to take photos with cameras using film. So what goes around comes around. So people are bored with the digital, they've done that. It's an everyday thing, it's a pain all the time. So they're now returning to some of the older forms, particularly for younger people who've grown up with computers, and they think, board games. 600 board games launched last year. Chains of coffee houses and pubs where everybody plays board games. So a sort of reaction to the virtual world and all that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Hope that answers your question.
Not really, but carry on.
Too much.
I should say, if anyone's interested, John and I made, along with a lot of other people, made a radio programme a couple of years ago called White Rabbits in Sussex, where we went in search of a lost folk psychedelic album that was made in Ditchling in 1969, I think it was, by 2 of the musicians who had gone on to be part of the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and Martha Carney, who went on to be newsreader for Radio 4, played Alice in a live version of Alice Through the Looking Glass, and the music from that became the sought after record. And John was one of the contributors, Arthur Brown, Shirley Collins, and other people as well were all sort of part of this story. And it's still on the iPlayer, so if you want to hear that. And it's also about the Downs as well, it's about Sussex and its landscape. So it's sort of psychogeography and psychedelia.
Yeah.
What's not to like? So yeah, you can find that on the iPlayer. And you can hear John talking more about his archive and stories. Yeah. Do we have any more questions, or are we going to take a break?
Can I ask one more? What was your favourite magazine in the 70s? What was out of that counterculture scene? What do you think was the best magazine?
In the 70s, I don't know. Well, I would say just after that, the early phase was end of the 70s, early 80s. I was there in the first issues, and that was a genuinely fresh sort of thing. But the Underground Press died, and it went from 64 to 72, and then Lewes went to the NME, and then, but that's the one that comes to mind anyway.
Why did you think it broke your brain?
Well, there'd never been anything like it before. As a style magazine, you had Queen, you had older generation magazines, but this was a whole new approach. He'd already done the NME, Smash Hits, and all these other groundbreaking pop magazines. But this was very sophisticated and was about fashion and pop.
Was it Felix Dennis who launched it?
No, it was Nick Logan, who was the editor of NME.
Oh right.
And is now widely seen as a sort of hugely important, it's followed by Blitz and all kinds of other magazines came from that, but obviously, I would say.
Can we put our hands together? Oh, we've got one more question.
What do you think of Viva Lewes?
What do I think of people?
Viva Lewes.
Oh, really? Good magazine.
No, I don't have to answer
I'll
it.
tell you what happened with Lewes. I did a book on vernacular architecture for Thames and Hudson, which was reviewed in the Lewes, and it described me as the Lewes Arms-based author. So I spoke to the editor and said, why didn't you just put alcoholic?
Yeah.
He went white as a sheet.
Yeah, bloody right.
So I think that says something about what I think about
The quality of the organisation, indeed.
Can we put our hands together, please, for John?